Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. From my last video, my decoys, my turkey decoys, and uh, the crossbow and patterning the shotgun, had a couple of messages asking, what calls do I use? So let's kind of go over the calls that I use, and we'll start. This is kind of like a old, reliable. It's an old Primos game call. It's a Graphite Slate, and it's hollow, so it works pretty good. I'll go through how I set these calls up too, but it has a little striker that comes with it. I've had this thing for probably 20 years. I got that back when I was repping. And my other call is from Illusion Game Calls. That's a glass slate. Has a wood striker. I do have a second striker for this one, and because I believe it did come with two. And when I used to, let me grab this other striker out of here. No, this is a COD striker, graphite tip, and so I use both them strikers on the Illusion Game Call. I do have a Quaker boy, little one-sider, and the reason why it's a one-sider is because you can go over here, but it pretty much is set so it stops at that point. And another old favorite of mine is a Talkin stick game call, Christian-based company. I've had this thing for years as well. I got this when I was repping from the company. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. So, and then in case you get them horrible days like it is today, where it's cloudy and raining. It's been raining all morning, and so that's why we're not in the boat. So, but it's a Penn's Woods waterproof wizard. So, and then this one, the surface is more of a painted on type surface. Same thing on the rails, and that one will work when it's wet. So, and then I have a kind of an all-in-one Primos tool for prepping your game calls, and I'll show you how that works. But let's start with the slate calls and go from there. Okay, the first slate call is the Primos, and this has a kind of stone on it and a rougher surface, so you don't have to carry a piece of sandpaper with you. Although carrying sandpaper helps, but you just take it, put it on the call. I rotate, go in circular motions, and do this before you go hunting. So you don't have to make all this noise in the woods. But you want to rough up the surface, and take your striker. This is where a piece of sandpaper comes in handy, or you can use a piece of Scotch-Brite. But I just run the striker on here, get that roughed up. So you got the tip of it roughed up, do the edges. Then you'll take it, and I used to tell customers at different deer and turkey expos, I used to sell a lot of calls when I worked for Illusions especially. I used to sell a lot of calls by telling them, if they had a child with them, that little child can learn how to use one of these calls if they can hold a pencil. And I'd get the comment that, well, if you can have my kid do a turkey call, then I'll buy it. And I'd get a lot of sales that way. So, but hold it like a pencil. Take the call, drag the striker towards you. That easy. Want to make yelps? Just do a circular motion, like you're drawing circles with a pencil. And with this particular call, if I get to the edges, it changes tones compared to the center. So if I'm out to the edge, and if I'm in the center, it's deeper. So, but I like this call. I keep looking down because earlier this morning I actually had one bird gobble. When I walked down the driveway, I made a call and it gobbled. So there is turkeys around here. Whether I get one, there's no guarantees. But really easy call to use. When you go to the store and you're looking at calls, a lot of places like Cabela's and stuff will have different turkey calls on display. Grab each one of them and see what works for you. So this one, like I said, when I was a rep, I came across this call. It was actually pretty inexpensive, but it just sounded so good, so had to have it. So that's the first call. And that's a Primos. I can't even remember what the actual name of this call is. It doesn't really say on here. It's just Primos Graphite call. Okay, the second call is my Team Illusions game call. And guys, so I have a bunch of different game calls from Illusions, duck calls, waterfowl calls. Used to work with them. I used to rep them at different shows, and I really like their calls. Same thing. Take the sandpaper edge and just work this in a circular motion. Go all the way around, get the edges. So it's nice and clouded up. Then I'm going to take the striker. I'll take the striker that came with it. And this, you can use the stone up here. You just want to get it sanded. I think my camera's on, yep. But I use this more of the sandpaper style. And I just want to get the edges, get it all roughed up. Then once I have the striker roughed up and the call roughed up, same thing as the other call. Glass calls are a little harder to use. It's a harder surface, if I can say it that way, and has a higher pitch to it. So different tones for different turkeys or different situations. Same thing, you want to do a circular motion, hold it like a pencil, draw it towards you. And what I'm doing is I'm pulling it towards me, then I'm lifting it off. Gets that clucking sound. Then do a circular motion again. Like that, and a little higher pitch, probably carry more in the wind, I would think. I've had this for years too, and it's worked well before my YouTube days. I got turkeys in southern Wisconsin quite often. Around here where I live now, I've gotten 2 turkeys. One of them is on an older video, and I think I hear a hen actually calling back. So, but so that's that call. So yeah, I've gotten turkeys on videos. Actually, let's take the other striker here. This is one with the graphite tip. I think this is I thought I had another striker for that illusion game call, but I used this one, and this is kind of a good all-around striker. I think this was a display model, and somebody stole the actual call, but it's more of a hollow tube on there, more of a plastic, almost graphite type tube, and I can use it on both calls. So Sometimes it's easier to use this one versus the wood one. So let me grab the other call. And this striker's pretty versatile. I can go from one call to the other. And you can hear how this call is deeper. So that's my Slate calls. I don't carry a ton of calls with me out in the woods, primarily so I don't have to worry about which calls to use. I usually have one or two out ready to go to make my calls. Okay, now let's go to my box calls. Again, this little tool, if you see them in the stores, they kind of come in handy. They have a couple things of Scotch-Brite, which the Scotch-Brite comes in handy for your slates and stuff. Has a piece of Scotch-Brite in the handle here, and a piece of chalk. And the chalk, let's use a little one-sider first. The chalk is for your rails, so you want to chalk up the rails on your call. Go all the way to the edges. Then you want to take the face of the paddle, get that chalked up. And so you want to make sure your whole paddle is covered. I'll just set that aside here. So this is a little one-sider. I learned a long time ago from I think one of the Primos guys. A lot of people hold their calls this way, which will work. But they said to hold it this way with the paddle facing out. That's why these calls are cut this way, so you can put your fingers in there and have your hand on top, and that way you can change tones. So, and you can work it easier actually. And I'll show you on my other call. You can really change the tone of it by squeezing. I can do it with this one too. It's quieter, then loosen it up, and it's louder. Now my talking stick, had this call for quite a while too, and I've had a lot of different calls in my life, and but I still have a whole drawer in the basement full of calls that I probably will never use. But again, chalk both the rails on this one, and then you want to chalk. Whoop, my chalk just broke in half. You want to chalk the whole paddle. And don't worry if you can't find chalk for your call. If you can go to any store that sells pool supplies like billiards, chalk for your pool cues will work fine with this too. But again, I hold the call this direction and put my fingers up here, then and this one you can change sides, get different tones. And like I was talking about squeezing the call, you can squeeze the call, put some pressure on both sides of it. Then as you're calling, you can loosen it up. And as you're loosening it and tightening the sides, you're flexing it and you're changing the tone of the call. So that's how I use my calls. A lot of people, like I said, using this direction, and they will work. But I think personally you have more control than going that direction. So just a tip that hopefully that helps you. Then you can change the different tones of your calls. So now let's look at the waterproof game call. Okay, I haven't looked for a while to see if these are still available. I'm sure there's probably some available, but take a Scotch-Brite, just rough it up a little bit. Same thing on the paddle. Just like you're doing with the chalk, you want to take Scotch-Brite and just rough up this a little bit. This was kind of a cool call when it first came out, because if you don't use mouth calls like me, I do not use a mouth call because I'm horrible with them, to admit it. But this gave people the opportunity to go out and go turkey hunting, and if they get caught in the rain, they can still call, because some of your other calls kind of go bad when it rains. But same thing. Doesn't have the best sound, but it sounds pretty good. But yeah, that's the Penns Woods Waterproof Wizard. Like I said, I don't know if there's other companies that have these out right now. I haven't personally looked, but they seem to work pretty well. Okay, so that kind of covers my calls. Like I said, if you can find one of these, it's kind of a do-it-all type. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a little maintenance thing for all of your calls. It has a stone on it, more of a rougher, like a sandpaper edge, a couple Scotch-Brite pads, and a chalk right in the handle. You carry this in your pocket, and you can touch up your calls all day long. So I carry, like I said, 2 Slate calls, and you can teach your 5-year-old, 10-year-old, as long as they can hold a pencil, they can call. And my other Slate call right here. I use a graphite tip on this one this time. Purring has never been my strong point. So there's some calls I'm halfway decent at, other calls I'm not. Got my little one-sider. A little higher pitched. Got my talking stick, which I really like. And I got my waterproof wizard. So that's all the calls I take in the woods. I'm not great with a mouth call, so I've kind of given up on that. Generally, when there's a turkey coming towards you, if it's gobbling, just stop calling and let them come. If they turn and start walking away, you can sometimes get their attention again and get them turned by doing some soft calls. And there's 1,000 videos on how to call turkeys and different situations and stuff. Most of my property, or our property, is wooded or marsh, and we only have 16, 17 acres. So there's not a big space I can go run and gun and stuff. So I have to try to bring them in to a certain area. And so I got a little oak woods up behind the house that I'll go up into, and then farther out in the woods, we have fields on both sides for neighboring properties. And a lot of times the turkeys will come in the woods, generally around 10 o'clock in the morning. Once in a while you see them, or hear them right away in the morning. And then I got the soybean field next door here, which last year we'd have 20, 30 turkeys out there after the season was closed. So hopefully that's not the case this year. Hopefully they show up here this week, because my season starts next week, and I'm only gonna be able to hunt. I have to work Wednesday, Thursday. I'm off on Friday, and then fishing season opens up on Saturday. So I'm gonna try to hunt possibly on that Friday, maybe on Sunday, and that Monday, and see if I can have any success. But let me show you my vest as well, and then we'll finish this video out. Okay, my vest. This is a Mossy Oak brand vest, and has a pretty thick seat that I really like. And then the biggest thing is I can take my calls, put them in. My box call, what I do sometimes is there's a pocket up here that you can put the handle in, but the call doesn't fit all the way, so I'm thinking about cutting the end of that. But I think that's what that was for initially. So I put it in there. As a flap goes over it, and that's that call, or is nice and packaged up in there. I got another pocket on the chest. That little one-sider fits into pretty well. There, I got my two main box calls. I won't carry the waterproof Wizard unless there's maybe a chance of rain. Then in the other chest has two pockets for your Slate calls. So I'll take one, put it in, and I always try to put them face towards my body. That way, if I do get stuck in the rain or something, the face of the call is hopefully dry, or will stay dry. Then another call goes in this pocket. Then as for my strikers, over on this side, I got two longer pockets. Don't lose these. So put in there magnetic. So that closes up there. This one goes in here. And then my spare striker, I just throw in the pocket, as well as my little maintenance thing. Zip it up over here. Basically just keep all my shells in here in this pocket. And then I have a rope for some reason, not sure what for, but I'm gonna keep it in there because it might come in handy. So, and then my waterproof Wizard I'll carry separately. So, but that's my vest. Nice big pocket on the back, and multiple pockets all around to carry shells. It's padding on the back, padding on the shoulders, padding for the butt. And then I have another pocket here that I'll carry my drinks in. Usually I carry 2, maybe 3 drinks and a bunch of snacks with me, so I can hopefully stay in the woods longer. But that's the vest. Like I said, it's just a Mossy Oak vest. To be honest, I don't even know where I got this. I can't remember. I have like 3 or 4 turkey vests around from when the kids would hunt with me. But, well, that's all my calls. My turkey vest. So hopefully my season starts next Wednesday. And I kind of went over the days I can hunt, the days I can't. So I'm actually going to have 2, possibly 3 days. Might still go check out some public areas too. But kind of like to stay around here. I've been hearing a turkey gobble down the bottom over there, and I've been hearing one gobble off in the woods over here. Not every day, but most days later in the afternoon, a couple times in the morning before I go to work. And I've seen one tom across the field next to us, actually across right through our yard. Then had a hen across the field next to us. So the turkeys are here, but I can't run and gun. Can't run all over 200-300 acres like a lot of people, but so we're kind of confined in one small area. So we'll do what we can. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a little bit about calls. Like I said, I'm not a professional caller. I don't claim to be, but I know enough to get it done. So thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
I wasn't in with the in crowd, just a number in a small town. You know that hip popularity list? Well, I was like way down. Didn't dress too impressive, didn't know to address it. And ain't much had changed since those high school days till you walked in. And baby, when you fell for me, I was like a new guy on the scene. Cause with you on my arm, it's like I'm strutting down the halls like a baller. Everybody's gonna stare, so I'm standing